I'm live. Hello. It is Wednesday, the 9th of February 2022. Hope I got this right this time. And I'm reading out of Lydia. Lydia is a book about reincarnations and birthing, rebirth. It's a follow-on from a book entitled, or a story I entitled Bliss After Life, which I wrote or started to spin in 2006 and finished book 1 in 2017, writing on and off occasionally. And then I continued writing Lydia, which is what I'm reading now. It hasn't been published yet, but I have been enjoying reading, and I hope you enjoy it. This is chapter 57, and it is December the 1st in 2012, and it's a Sunday. David and Susan had been at his house all week, and Sunday morning started slow. They had worked at sanding and varnishing the entrance hall, and had been exhausted when they went to bed the night before. They had enjoyed the transformation. After days of working, they finished varnishing with a third coat last night. "We cannot get up. The floor might still be wet." Susan was comfy in bed, and it was Sunday. David was laughing. "It was quick dry, but I agree. We best not risk it for a while, just as well we have en suite." He took Susan into his arms. It had been fun. They both were delighted how great the hall looked. "This is such a lovely cottage, David. What a stroke of luck that we found it last year. Imagine, 3 months and it will be a year that you bought it. Hasn't the time flown? And in 3 weeks or so is our anniversary of bumping into each other last Christmas." She snuggled into his arm. She wouldn't have believed it 12 months ago. She would never forget the shopping trip just before Christmas 2011. Life had changed in the best way possible. She was a grandmother now. David also expected another baby in his family. His daughter Maisie was over the moon, and Susan had spoken to her yesterday to invite them, her and Alexander. It would be lovely to have them here for a weekend. She was thinking of Melanie, who was due before Christmas, and a spring baby on the way. She would phone Anna later. They had decided to drive to London in the afternoon. With the house smelling of paint, David and her both felt like spending a few days at the refuge. "Melanie is still at the refuge. Ben just sent me a text. Tony and Pete came up last night, and I look forward to seeing everyone. Shall we leave after lunch? I have a ready casserole in the fridge." Susan was starting to feel wide awake, looking at David. "Shall I get us a cup of tea and toast, and we watch another Star Trek?" David was laughing. Susan had really got into watching the old Star Trek episodes since she read The Planet of Choice. "You know, I love watching them, even twice or thrice. I'm a bit of a Trekkie, as you know, since I found out way back that Gene Roddenberry was in the transmission circles which Phyllis Schlemmer gave in the 70s, in The Only Planet of Choice. That has no doubt given you ideas." David loved it that she enjoyed it as much as he did. There were many different versions of Star Trek, but the exploration of space had always been something he was fascinated with, and that one was at the top of his watch list. He had the box sets of all seasons. "It feels positively archaic here after watching a few of them. They did an excellent job in showing us a wider perspective. Sometimes it feels like we're children who have no idea what is really going on. I shall educate myself a bit further and watch another one." Susan was smiling, getting out of bed to make tea. "Go on, find us an episode. Discovering something new in the galaxy. I shall tiptoe into the kitchen. I have messaged Ben that we shall be there around 3. "I will do. I shall have a quick shower now. It's raining. Perfect for a morning watching." David got out of bed. At the refuge, Anna and Pete were lazing in bed. Peter had had a tough week. They had worked hard, and he had overseen all the installations, and it had been a bit stressful as they wanted it ready for Christmas. "It will look fantastic once the carpet and floors are in." Pete stretched himself and embraced Anna. She had a round belly, and he exaggerated stretching to take all of her into his arms. "We shall have a lovely room for our visits. It has a lovely view into the garden, and it's literally 15 minutes walk from the beach. Your mother will have a choice of abodes when they come Christmas." As if she doesn't know that, Pete. Every conversation is about her upcoming visit. And she already announced that they will also come again in March, when Jacob is born. She loves the idea of having choices. Melanie's Milton will be 3 months old by then, and we shall celebrate Lydia's first birthday. Imagine that. Anna extracted herself and smiled at Peter. She felt so happy she could burst. It's very cold in Moscow, and my parents are both really looking forward to spending Christmas here. They have booked now and are coming on the 22nd of December, just as well that the refuge is so big. She was asking if she could bring a friend in March, but we have plenty of time to discuss this. My mum likes to plan ahead. Pete looked at her. She was radiant in her pregnancy. He had enjoyed converting Melanie and Tony's flat into his own abode, designed and now almost finished. What a difference a year makes, Pete was singing, and they were laughing. Life had taken a beautiful turn. He had never imagined that his visit to the refuge at the end of last year would have such an amazing outcome. This place has been so instrumental for me even before I met you, however you got here, my lovely Anushka. I'm eternally grateful for it. She kissed him, she agreed, and this was here and now, and it was wonderful. Let's go and see who is up. It's after 10 and I can hear talking downstairs. I'm hungry and wide awake. Anna stretched herself and Peter pulled her off the bed. He was hungry too, and they took their dressing gowns, laughing, to see who was in the kitchen. When they came downstairs, Melanie was also still in her dressing gown. She was loading a tray with cups of tea and toast. She smiled at Anna. They often met in their bathrobes in the kitchen. You are wearing Ormy Bliss robe again. I wish I hadn't met her. It's a fabulous dressing gown, so colourful. Faye came fully dressed with Lydia into the kitchen. She had already been out for a walk to the shops and put her bags on the table. Susan and David are coming. I bought some extra stuff for tonight. They will be here around 3. I bought some cakes and we can have a lovely afternoon tea, some scones and Cornish cream. She licked her lips, smiling. Lydia was making noises. She wanted to be on the floor, and Faye sat her down, where she proceeded to crawl to Melanie. I love this robe. It always hung behind the door, and I think everyone who sleeps up there wears it. She picked Lydia up, laughing, with her up, bopping her up and down. Just as well it's a generous robe. Look at the size of my belly. She opened the dressing gown, and everyone admired her Milton bulge. Look at mine. Anna opened her robe. Everyone was laughing. Next to Melanie, it looked small. You just take your time, Jacob. This house will be madness the next few weeks. Pete was blushing. The girls were laughing. This was almost a bit too much for him. I'm glad David is coming this afternoon. We need some more males here. Peter took juice out of the fridge. Do you also want eggs, Anna? I fancy scrambled eggs on toast with some coffee. He could see there was a fresh pot on the machine. I shall leave you to it. Melanie handed Anna little Lydia and took her tray to go back upstairs. Ben passed her on the way coming downstairs. He pretended to take a piece of toast. Good morning, don't you dare, Ben. Tony needs sustenance. Faye is making breakfast. Lovely that David and your mum are coming later. It has been a while. I shall ring Holly, although I assume she already knows. Of course she does. Her and Chris will come early evening. I give her a ring because we are having tea together here with scones and cream and all. I'll ask them to come earlier. Enjoy your breakfast. Melanie went upstairs. Tony had put a film on and had run a bath for her. For you alone, he was laughing, taking the tray. Let's chill. It will get busy in the house this afternoon. I made a stew fast for lunch. It's in the fridge and we can please ourselves. I feel like doing very little today. Thank you so much for running me a bath. I shall watch the film and have my breakfast whilst watching. She dropped her dressing gown with an exaggerated gesture, and Tony thought again that he was a lucky man. He got up to put the film on. Melanie liked old films, and he had chosen a 1970s movie about underwater treasure exploration. The Deep was a movie he had seen in the cinema, and it was a great film. Is that why you ran me a bath? Melanie was laughing, looking at the cover. I shall enter the deep. She stepped into the bath. Life was good. Tony sat back with his toast and coffee and pressed play. Chapter 55. The end of 2012 is nearing. Melanie was sitting in the inside-outside space in the garden. She had closed the doors. October and November had passed, and she had really enjoyed staying at the refuge. Everything had taken longer than planned with their flats. She had spent much time with Lydia. Faye had gone back to studying more and was glad to have Melanie helping with the little one. Anna looked definitely and undoubtedly pregnant now. No. No, we had that before. I have to check that. I'll have to stop here. So I'll finish that chapter for now. And that would be a short chapter, won't it? That was the end of chapter 54. And I shall check what I will have written now.